So from now on, I am going to report the news. Let's go inside the stories.
Expose, 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 expose. You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Expose, 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 expose. You are exposed, sir. I'm gonna expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you. Expose, 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 expose. It's time for some exposure. Some exposure. Some exposure. Expose. Expose myself to you. To you. To you. E-X-P-O-S-E. Expose. 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 Exposed. Exposed. Hashtag drama alert. There's news to expose. Hashtag breaking. SS Sniper Wolf has a vagina. More on that at 11. Vaginas. Hey guys, it's Scarce here. Lots of news today. Lots of exposure. And double upload. Expose. 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 You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Expose, 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 expose. You are exposed, sir. I'm gonna expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am completely pissed. I was gonna write a script for this video. Why am I still getting hate?
Hey, what's up guys, it's Scarce here. So from now on, I am going to report the news. Let's go inside the stories.
Expose, 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 expose. You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Expose, 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 expose. You are exposed, sir. I'm gonna expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you. Expose. 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 It's time for some exposure. Some exposure. Some exposure. Expose. Expose myself to you. To you. To you. E-X-P-O-S-E. Expose. 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 Exposed. Exposed. Hashtag drama alert. There's news to expose. Hashtag breaking. SS Sniper Wolf has a vagina. More on that at 11. Vaginas. Hey guys, it's Scarce here. Lots of news today, lots of exposure, and double upload. Exposed, 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 exposed. You're exposed. You're exposed. You are exposed. Exposed, 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 exposed. You are exposed, sir. I'm going to expose you. Expose you. Oh my God, expose you.
All right, here we
What
go.
is up, ladies and gentlemen? I am just.
What's
I
up,
am
everybody?
completely
This is
pissed. I was going to write a script
your
for this
number
video.
one fucking
Why
stud,
am I
Richard Review
still
Tech
getting
USA.
hate?
Yes,
Hey,
Joker,
what's
like I
up,
said,
guys?
we
It's
could
Scarce here, and from
curse in
now
my
on,
stream,
I am going
as you
to
can see.
report the news. Let's go inside
And this
the
should
story.
be, I have to give a shout out to someone who already super chatted. I was going to shout you out before you even super chatted. Google Fishes to Google Fish. I was actually going to reschedule this stream to tomorrow night because I thought I was going to have issues with all my videos, and I forgot I shouted out this live stream in my first video. All of a sudden this afternoon I was out and Google Fish sends me a message saying, "Oh, you realize that you actually said you're going to do that live stream tonight, right?" And I'm like, "Oh shit." So thanks to him, I was able to actually have decent time management for once. So shout out to Google Fish.
Yeah, I saw what you meant earlier with the whole YouTube text and everything, because I put up a short to announce the stream as well. Then I looked at it like 5 minutes ago, and it had already been up for, I had uploaded it like 2 hours ago, and it was still running checks.
There's
So it seems like there's a slowdown.
there's something up, and they finally said, okay, we're getting. I think I was like one of the first people that noticed it because they just said to me like, oh yeah, now we're starting to get people sending us reports that it's getting stuck on checks. Like, I guess I was for once one of the first ones to catch a bug. I mean, it doesn't matter, but that's why they were like baffled when I first told them. So, but yeah, I didn't think I was going to have that video up today, so I was going to reschedule this stream to tomorrow night. But I'm an idiot, and I said it in another video. So, but that's good though. So now we're here because I know that Joker, who has a YouTube channel, Joker Productions. I will have a link to that in the description. He does awesome PC gaming reviews, tech reviews, video card reviews, and he also follows my channel. And he has quite a bit to say about Austin Evans and the PS5, his worst video in the PS5 revision. And he was like, Rich, I got a lot to talk to you about, and I told him to come on stream. So I'll let you take it away from here, and we will discuss.
So yeah, the reason I messaged you last night, I was like, I was frustrated because a lot of people have been, giving him guff over that video, but no one has really focused on how he tested the thermals. Like people, like a little bit here and there, but really not a lot of people were talking about it. Some people the people that were sort of going against him, all they were really mentioning was, hey, it's only running 3 to 5 degrees hotter, so it doesn't really matter. But my point of contention to that was, hey, maybe we should look at how he even got to that 3 to 5 degrees Celsius number, which is an incorrect way of testing the exhaust thermals coming out of the system. So I've been testing computer hardware for, I don't know, probably 5 to 8 years now for YouTube and stuff. And anytime any thermal testing is done, you want to test it at the silicon level, which is hard to do with a console. Not everyone has the capability of doing that. And I guess he didn't have everything for it to do that, which is, fine. But I feel like in those kind of scenarios, you kind of just have to accept the limitation and, say, well, I can't really test it. Whereas he used the FLIR camera and we saw the thermals coming out. And if you know anything about thermals with hardware, the more heat that's coming out of a system, whether it's a PC, an Xbox, a PS5 or whatever, the more heat coming out means the less heat inside of the system, which means it's doing a more efficient job of cooling the hardware. So, he pointed out that the heatsink was smaller, which you would think, okay, so it's not going to be as good, which would be a fair point to make or an assertion to make and assume that. And then you would go and, attest it and try to prove your point. But he also kind of ignored the fact that the fan on it was significantly better. Like the old fan that I saw in there, I was so surprised that the fins didn't come all the way to the center because I've never really seen a fan like that. So having that extra surface area means the fan's going to do a better job, and it could be cooling the system better. And with the smaller heatsink, another thing that could possibly be happening there, even though it's smaller, that could improve airflow throughout the system. So there's just a couple of variables there, and I don't have the hardware to test the silicon on the PS5 either. But everything that I know about thermal testing, if you test the temperatures coming out of the back of the system, higher temps means cooler inside. And he really should have known that and not really made the assertion at the end of the video that the new PS5 is 100% worse, whether he's trying to do it for clicks or not, which he admitted in his video that he posted today. Of course he's trying to do it for clicks. We all make videos for clicks. That's the whole purpose of it.
We were just talking about that. Yeah. No one's putting up a video going, you know what? I hope absolutely no one watches it. Like, we're all doing this to get viewership. I'm sorry, but I'll let you continue.
No, yeah. But yeah, of course he's doing it for clicks. I'm not mad at Austin for making a video for clicks and trying to use a catchy thumbnail and stuff like that. And even if he had, made the title of new PS5 is worse and the thumbnail and everything, but concluded at the end of the video that, he can't really say that conclusively, which he didn't. He did a little bit in his sort of apology video that he did today, where he didn't really apologize and he didn't admit that he was wrong. And he never really got too into the, fact of like how the heat is being expelled and how he measured there. He talked about it a little bit, but he never really admitted, what he should have, which is that that's not how you test it. And hotter temperatures out mean less temperature in.
Now, I know obviously getting the more accurate reading would always be getting it right from the SoC, from the motherboard, or if you actually have a thermal gun that's actually aiming right at where, the CPU is or SoC is. But could there be another reason that you're getting hotter air out of the exhaust besides for just expelling more air? Is there something that could do with the cooler that in a negative way, or is he 100% wrong?
I mean, there's a possibility that he could be right, but until we test at the silicon level, we won't really know. Other factors that could be at play there that could have maybe improved it is Richard Ledbetter mentioned it in his article that they could have potentially used different materials on the heatsink that could have, had better thermal conductivity.
Okay, I didn't think of that. Okay.
So that's a possibility, but even Richard Ledbetter mentioned that's probably the least likely of the scenario. More likely it's better airflow and the fan doing a better job.
So you're thinking... I'm sorry, continue.
And then, your question was really if anything else could cause more heat output at the back. Potentially, if the air was moving slower, maybe if it was getting caught in there, you might see some higher temps, but probably not 3 or 5 C, which, remember, we're measuring in Celsius. 3 to 5 degrees Celsius is not a extremely insignificant amount. I mean, it's probably not going to cause any performance degradation or anything like that, but if you all of a sudden you had your CPU or GPU running 3 to 5 degrees hotter than normal under the same conditions, you would probably think something's going on there. As long as you're measuring at the chip level, not the exhaust or anything, which nobody would ever do.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even think of that to a degree because I'm so used to checking temperatures on PC and I know where they're coming from. So, I mean, he mentioned it was from the exhaust, but I'm thinking if that's the air it's pumping out, that means that it's not cooling properly. But I saw that argument being made by a couple people, and his video today, he basically said that what his statement was factual, that it's a smaller heatsink, so therefore it's going to run warmer. If you've noticed. Well,
yeah, that's anyone would. I would come to the same assumption as well. If I just if I saw a smaller heatsink versus a larger heatsink, I would say yes, this is not going to do as good a job at dissipating heat. But there's other factors at play besides just the heatsink. There's the better fan and things like that. And the also the airflow is also a potential there. And I had a thought to something you said, and I was about to write it down as a note, and then I lost my train of thought.
Was it about Gamers Nexus talking about how it ran super hot, the RAM at least anyway, it would ran insanely hot?
No, it wasn't that actually. I just remembered. So it was also from the Digital Foundry article where they talked about because they've already started testing. They didn't post anything yet as far as temps are concerned. But they did note that if the SoC was actually running hotter, we probably would have seen other telltale signs like the fans ramping up or becoming more erratic, which didn't happen. The fans were actually running quieter, which he measured. It was about 1 decibel lower, which is something you're never going to be able to audibly hear. But it was evidence that the fan was not working harder. In fact, it was working less, which is very likely due to the fact that it is a better fan. The type of fan that they have on there now, it appears to, on PC, we would call it a static pressure fan. And those types of fans you would typically want to use on a radiator or something, or if it was trying to blow through anything else. So if you put in like an all-in-one cooler for a CPU, let's say, a water cooler, you would use a static pressure fan because it's either going to be blowing through or pulling air through a radiator with dense fins. And then other fans would be called an airflow fan. So think your like your front intake on your PC case and the rear exhaust, that would be an airflow fan, and then something on a radiator would be static pressure. And since they're in an enclosure like the PS5, and the fan itself is attached to like a metal grate sort of that fixes it to the system, a static pressure fan is what you would want to use there. And that appears what the updated fan that he showed in the video is, and just looked a lot better. And then on top of that, the extra surface area from the fins would help it a lot too.
But would it, because it's a different fan, if it, what, maybe it could have been speeding up and just not making as much noise? You get what I'm saying? Like, if...
Not really, because the fan itself is still the same size. They're both 120 millimeter fans.
Okay.
You would see that if the fan was bigger. So usually if you build a PC 140 millimeter fan, or even if you go up to like a 200 millimeter fan, the bigger the fan is, the quieter it's going to be, because it's not going to need to work as hard. But the fan was the same exact size, so it shouldn't have been really, that shouldn't have really been a factor.
Okay, so man, it's weird. So what do you take away from this video? Like, what effect do these kind of videos have? Now look, I'm not saying Austin did anything maliciously. I was one of the guys kind of saying, look, everyone needs to calm down, and I think it's ridiculous. But what do you think this kind of video kind of effect that it has on the community, I guess, is the best way to word it?
Well, with his initial video when it came out, we saw immediately, all the tech websites that need content for the day, they picked it up and they ran with it. The new PS5 is worse. It's a great headline. It's a great title. It's a great topic. Everyone's going to want to talk about it. Sony fans are going to want to talk about it and defend it. Xbox fanboys are going to want to use it and attack Sony fanboys. And then people like me are just going to want to hear what's going on. I own a PS5. Love it. I have one of the original launch ones. It's a great system. The Series X is also a great system. It's got the Game Pass and everything. So both systems are good. I really couldn't care one way or the other. It's just I have a PS5 because I like the exclusives, and the Xbox games I can all play on PC. So my takeaway from the video is that it can be damaging to the community, the misinformation being spread, and all these tech websites picking it up, gaming websites picking it up. And then you have Xbox fans that will use that as ammunition for years to come. And anytime a discussion comes up about these consoles and they're trying to point out any positives or negatives about a system, that's probably going to be in the topic of discussion.
And did you see, because of his video today, that on eBay they're trying to charge more for the older revision of the PlayStation 5?
Yeah, that's he mentioned that in his non-apology video, and he brought that up, and that's I didn't expect it to go that far, but that is huge. That is, I would say, even more damaging than just fanboys using it as false information to argue with Sony ponies. That's a way bigger impact, is people having to spend more money on launch systems, and scalpers are using it as a way to advertise and bait people into it.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how much of a ripple effect it had too. I mean, again, I 110%, like, that really pissed me off when I found out he got doxxed and threatened, and there's no need for any of that stuff, man. If you want to talk about negative or positive about what he said, he ripped him a new one. That's fine. But when it goes beyond that, it makes me angry, because it has such a negative. That also has a ripple effect on the whole community. Anything that gets to that point where people are doxing and getting involved in people's real lives, that is definitely too far. It's gone too far. It's not that serious. It's not really that serious that you need to be making death threats. Like, don't get me wrong, as a hardware enthusiast and a gamer, I do take it serious, but to a point. At the end of the day, it's really not going to change my life. I just don't like misinformation and fake news being spread, when it's something that could have been avoided if he was just a little more clear on the fact that in the original video that, hey, this isn't the best way to test, but this is the only way I have to test right now, so we're going to go based on that information. And he didn't really go there. He flat out concluded at the end of the video, the new PS5 is worse because it has a smaller heatsink without factoring in everything else. Well, I think he kind of contradicted himself. It wasn't a flat out, because initially, like right after I think he did the test, he did say, look, this isn't conclusive. But then when they took out the heatsinks and the Miami Vice guy was there, Then I don't know his name. I'm just saying he looked like he was a
Yeah, I
cop
didn't.
from Miami Vice.
No, I've never seen him either. I don't really watch Austin's content that much, but he's been around on YouTube probably even longer than you, or just as long. I
Really?
mean, I pretty a long time, like late 2000, like 2008, maybe 2010, because when I first started doing YouTube around, I think it was like 2012, maybe 2013. I had looked up videos like how to be a better YouTuber, how to present on camera, and he had actually done a partnership with one of the MCNs at the time, and he did a series of videos for helping YouTubers learn how to be better on camera and stuff, and that was the first time I ever saw him before I even knew he had a tech channel, and I didn't find out about that until the whole house fire thing that he had years later, and all the other tech channels came out and helped him and supported him and stuff, and that's when I was like, oh wait, I saw this guy back in like YouTube tutorials on how to be a better YouTuber. I didn't even know you had a tech channel. So that was and that was probably a good 3 to 5 years later. So yeah, he's been around a while.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, Austin Evans. I remember like I started Review Tech USA in not it was a hobby, but 2009. And I remember him being there like he was a kid back in like 2011, 2012. I was already a 30-year-old fuck at that time.
April 28th, 2009 was his first video.
Holy shit. I mean, I had another channel before that, but that was like whatever. I remember it was RLM Audio, but he's been doing it longer, literally still longer than I have.
Yeah, I don't even know how old he was back then, but he was
a kid.
He was definitely young. I would say he was probably a little older than MKBHD when he started, because MKBHD was like, I mean, what, like 14, 13. He was a kid. But yeah, he's been around a long time on the platform. He's an OG.
Yeah, he has been doing it a long time. We were talking about this before too. I know I'm kind of trailing off on the subject, but
that's okay.
However, we've all been around doing this for so long, and it's weird to think it's like another lifetime now. Like,
it feels like you're right. It does feel like there's been so many I mean, people live, their lives and stuff like that. You can kind of dice it up like, oh my God, like I had this lifetime where, I lived here and this thing happened like for a long period of time. And through YouTube, it's been that way, like all these different phases, being on it for even less than 10 years, it feels like there's been so many different swells and trends and different things like in everything like that. And seeing it develop it's kind of crazy.
It is. It's it's kind of like almost I describe it as like a yearbook. Like you could go back like 10 years later and look, and it's like, oh wow, I was doing that. But it's like even more vivid than a yearbook because it's actual moving pictures. It's crazy. Sorry, we're gonna treat this like a video, so we're probably gonna end it relatively soon. So we'll go Google Fish. We'll do these super chats, and we'll call it a day for this. I'll dive deep into Joker Productions' muscular ass for those golden nuggets. Thanks to Google Fish, though. Yeah, my audience is fucking nuts like me. If it wasn't,
I know they are.
If it was,
can I meet Carlos? By the way, I see him there.
Carlos, the ass-eating chicken, is right here.
I'm a big fan of Carlos. Where did you get that chicken?
I have no fucking clue. It was just around my house, and I remember I got really, really baked in one of my streams, and I said a chicken was going to peck corn out of my ass, and I found a chicken the next day, a porcelain one, and here we are. I have a beautiful, handsome bird on my desk. So, but thanks to him, I didn't look like Google Fish. I didn't look like an idiot tonight because I forgot in that first video I mentioned I was actually doing. I only thought I mentioned my Austin Evans video, which is coming out tomorrow. Ah, good old YouTube. The horses are coming. There is no horses. There's just chicken. Oh, yeah. You'll want to talk about this real quick. Just announced Horizon Forbidden West will not have upgrade from PS4 to PS5 unless you buy the digital deluxe edition or higher. Basically, if you own Horizon Forbidden West on the PS4, if you finally get your hands on a PS5, you can't just upgrade.
Not even like a $10 upgrade fee or something?
Nope.
That sucks. I thought that initially about Ghost of Tsushima that recently got the upgrade, but I thought I was like I have the PS4 game and they did an upgrade back in I don't know maybe December, January where they upgraded to 60 FPS, but then with the director's cut which improved the textures and all that stuff, thankfully it's only a $10 upgrade, which is fine, I guess. That's not too bad. I wish it was free because they didn't do a ton there. But it was nice. It was only $10 and I have to buy a $70 director's cut on top of the original game that I already own.
I thought they did it. I thought that director's cut upgrade was shit. It looked like different.
Yeah, the textures are better, but otherwise the original upgrade is more than sufficient. Honestly, you don't really need to do it unless you're playing on a 4K TV where you're going to maybe notice those differences. Then it's probably not worth it. And then there was the extra content they added in, some story stuff, but they also parted that out as a second fee. I believe that one was 20, and then the upgrade was 10. So if you wanted to get the DLC and upgrade, it was $30. So at least you didn't have to buy a $70 copy. I thought that was a benefit, but I agree with you as far as upgrades were concerned. It was pretty shit since they already kind of did it for free anyway. They could have thrown the fucking texture pack to people.
Yeah, seriously.
It's a texture pack.
You're paying $10 for a fucking texture pack. I like the way Microsoft does it better. Rich, tell this man he's a tech god. He is definitely a tech god. Like I said, he has more computer knowledge on a pimple on his ass than I do in my entire head. I could build a computer, but my OCD gets in the way because I'm a dumbass.
I'm not that good. I build computers. I'm mostly a gamer though, and I know I can test hardware, but I'm definitely no Gamers Nexus or anything. Those guys really do get into the nitty gritty, and that's who I'm really looking forward to seeing them or Digital Foundry do something, because those guys are, as far as tech channels are concerned, are S tier. No one gets as in depth as them, at least from the people that I watch in my circle.
Gamers Nexus is like, you can't like knock yourself and say you're on a higher level, because they're like the brain surgeons.
It's ridiculous. It's like, I remember there was a point in time where I thought I got more in depth than a lot of other channels that just kind of showed frame rates and stuff, and then they kind of came along, and I was just like, I can never be this good. I actually just give up now. No one can compete with. They get so in depth into every single aspect of it, because Stephen Burke is like a literal genius. He is like one of the smartest people I've ever met, and a really nice guy too. We've run into each other and hung out at a few different conventions over the years, and he's a nice guy. And their testing is second to none in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And the last one here is probably because the variable clocks they can afford to use way less heatsink and more aluminum than copper, using lower clock speeds to compensate.
Well, I did see that, and I was waiting for you to get to that super chat, because I would contradict that by saying that if that was the case, then the performance would be lower. If they were running at lower clock speeds, we would see performance issues, and I don't think Sony's going to sacrifice that. There's the argument that also came up, is that people are saying that maybe the original heatsink was just over-engineered, and they realized they can do the same thing with less materials and turn a profit, which I don't really have a big issue with, as long as we don't see any performance issues, which as of right now we haven't seen any performance issues. And the likelihood of 3 to 5 degrees, if that was the actual number at the SoC level, degrading the hardware faster, probably not. It's not going to really cause that much of an issue.
And let's keep it real. Do we really expect any of these consoles to last a solid 5 years? Like, I hate being, Debbie Downer, but do we really think they're going to last that long? Like, come on.
Well, they'll definitely come out with an upgraded version within
that
5 years.
Too.
Yeah. I don't think they'll necessarily be on the next gen. Maybe in 5 years they'll be on the next gen after, but I'm pretty sure we'll see a upgraded revision, like a PS5 Pro or something like that, or the Xbox Series Z or whatever stupid fucking name they call it.
I was talking that they'll actually last and not break. I was meaning that too.
Yeah, I saw where you kind of going with that. I wanted to go a little bit in a different direction, but I've only had one console ever break on me in my life, and that was a PS2, and then I gave up gaming for like 3 years.
I've gone through my giving up gaming phases, so yeah. It like you said, even the difference in temperature really isn't a big deal, and because it's coming from the vent, that could mean, or probably does mean, that it's just venting the hot air better. So again, though, like I always say, time will tell, and who knows? Maybe we'll find out that the launch models actually run a hell of a lot crappier, and they'll burn themselves out first, and the revisions are actually better. So thank you, Joker. If you want to shout out your channel again one more time and put it in the chat if you want, and we'll close up shop.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on, Rich. If you guys want to check me out, Joker Productions. I mostly cover PC gaming news nowadays. I upload probably 3 to 5 times a week at the latest news in PC gaming, and stuff like that. And then when new hardware comes out, I usually get sampled from Intel, NVIDIA, AMD. So any new CPUs, graphics cards that come out, I'll have reviews out day one, occasional PC builds here and there, angry rants when I see shit in the news that pisses me off, like Activision or Ubisoft or all these microtransaction shenanigans.
So basically, every day you're pissed.
No, not every day. I started out on YouTube like always just looking for stuff to be angry at because I thought that's how I would get views, but I hardly ever do that nowadays. I would say maybe 6 rants a year where I really get pissed off about something like this whole Austin Evans thing.
Okay, well, it's better to be that way. It keeps your blood
I
pressure
agree.
down.
Yeah, I don't want to be that type of creator anymore where I'm just always angry and just bashing everything all the time. I've gotten a little calmer in my old age, and I just like to just appreciate PC gaming and talk about it because that's my primary platform for gaming is on the PC.
Well, as you get older, you mellow. Well, at least I mellowed out to a degree. So
For sure.
All right, guys. I'll be back a little bit later. I got to go do something before I start streaming. And thanks again, Joker, for coming on. And I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Have a good one.
All right.